welcome back to Build with the Boys. It's time for our weekly catch-up. What a week it's been in the UK. We've lost another Prime Minister. Just remarkable. So there's been quite a lot of turmoil. Jesus is ridiculous. I have no comment. What can you say at this point? I have no comment. But over in our world, it's been a slightly quiet week. I mean, we had Ironman turn up. So Ironman up to stage 90 is now on the channel. And again, he's not anything. He's a box of bits. But, excitingly, next month he starts to go together. So in November, when we get 91 to 94, we will be attaching the arms and the head to the body, finally. The body is now pretty much done. We've moved on to the abdomen. So next month, we finish the first set of abdomen, and we attach the head and the arms to the body, finally. And then the month after that, in December, he's built. So when we get to 97, he's completely built. So this is coming to the end now, and it has put me off building another one like this. It just has. I mean, this is the thing that I might feel differently when I see him in his full glory standing there. It might have all been worth it, but it's left me with zero desire to build RoboCop, which I believe is launching in January. I believe from Fan Home. Not interested. I don't want to do this again. It just, there wasn't enough for me. There just wasn't enough per pack, and the value didn't feel like it was there. My saving grace was the premium stand. It gave you a little bit more to do each month, and the premium stand is humongous. I'll grab it. Hold on. So this is our premium stand. I mean, this is now pretty much fully built. The only thing missing from this is at the back here. We're going to build, it's like a ball bearing ring that'll make this thing turn. And then the actual pole that goes inside it to hold him up, because it's a different one that you got with the basic stand. Now I can turn this thing on, but they've disguised the switch so well. I never know what the bloody thing is. So let's find it. One of these bolts is actually the switch. There we go. So there you can see. That's our... And it does kick off quite a lot of light. I mean, you can see, there you go. There's an illuminated beard for you. There's words you never thought you'd hear today. Illuminated beard. That's the phrase that pays. So yeah, it's lovely. I mean, it is massive. So again, if you are thinking of building this, make sure you've got space to put this bloody thing, because it is gargantuan. It's absolutely huge. The little stand, you can put him on a shelf. Forget about it. You need him floor standing, or you need somewhere where you can display him, the dresser or something like that. He needs somewhere to go. I'm really looking forward to seeing him built. And I'm sure it'll be good. It's a beautiful model. Can't take that away from it. But if you want the hobby side of it, if you want the build part of it, this one ain't for you. For model wise, absolutely, if that's what you want. But build wise, nah. There's just not enough going on. There were too many issues that could be done in under a minute. I mean, literally under a minute. And for me, it's not why I get these. I mean, the model is ultimately what we're getting them for, but the build is, let's be honest, that's what we're all in it for the build. That's what we enjoy. We enjoy the build. So if there's very little build, it's very little enjoyment. And that was the problem with it. But then in the polar opposite, we had pack 10 of the Root Master, which should be up on the channel now. If it's not up on the channel yet, it's because it's still being edited, but that's imminent. That will come up anytime now. And my God, was that labour intensive. There is a lot to do in pack 10 of the Root Master. So we've tied up all the wires. We've attached the roof to the upper deck. We've added the figures that we sourced into the bus as well. And that was a lot, but man, it's looking beautiful. Now the roof panels are on, you can kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like with the side panels and things like that, and beautiful. And I have just had notification literally today that pack 11 has shipped from Agora, so that should be here probably this time next week, so probably next weekend it will arrive. It maybe sooner. But that one, I can't see as being as labour intensive. It's mainly panels. So we're pretty much built. When it comes to bus now, the structure of the bus is pretty much that. I know we've got to put the rear bumper on and a few other bits and bobs, but we're pretty much there with the build of the bus now. And then it's all panelling. For the next two packs, pretty much panelling. And just the detailing, which it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. And I've adored building the Root Master. It's been such a fun build. So much to do. and every pack has made an impact. Just a blast. I can't recommend that enough. If you're looking at getting into one of these, Routemaster is a good one to go with. It's very builder friendly as well. I mean, as opposed to a lot of the other vehicles that we do, which have us make an enormous chassis and then an enormous frame and then try and negotiate the two together. You didn't have that with Routemaster. It just naturally built up, which was lovely, and a very refreshing change. I wish more models would do that, because historically that connecting chassis to frame is a bloody nightmare. I mean, particularly with Ecto. Ecto was, Jesus, that was bad. So again, I recommend it. I mean, at whatever level you're at, I recommend the Routemaster. Next week we should have, touch wood, postal delays dependent, Titanic. So the next four Titanic should be coming next week, where we are working on the engine room. Still the engine room. We're on the engine room for another 2 months with just engine room. But wow, that's coming along a lot as well. It's very labour intensive because it's tiny little details, but those details really bring it to life. So I don't particularly enjoy working on that smaller scale, but it definitely pays off. I mean, the look of it at the end is magnificent. And then the week after that, we'll have the Disney Dolls House, which again is just over there at the moment. It's growing huge, so that'll be attached into the basement, and good. So exciting times in our world at the moment. We've done like 3 packs of R2D2. That will be up on the channel very soon as well. And then we come to news of what's coming. Now this one came out of left field for me. Now I've been aware of this for ages, but I just never thought it would get released here. Never. Because it just seems too niche. Now I would imagine I think they've tested the market. Don't know, but D'Agostini are releasing this. That is the house from the waking nightmare that is Moomins. Moomins just traumatized the crap out of me when I was a kid. I appreciate that later on in the 90s, and I think the noughties, there was a 2D animated cartoon of it. I would imagine there's probably a 3D animated film of it now, I think. But when I was a kid, it was very different. It was kind of like a very weird stop motion, almost like Fuzzy Felt, if you remember that. And I would have been about, I don't know, 6 when it was on. And it was just trippy, man. It was like scary. It was like proper scary, proper weird, creepy 80s thing. And never liked it, man. Just freaked me out. I know, I could never figure out what Moomin was. Is he a hippo? Is he a cow? Is he some sort of dog thing? I never really got what it was. And then that weird ass troll that hangs around with him. I don't know. So for D'Agostini to release this surprised me, because I'm not aware of Moomin's fan base in the UK. I mean, I'm sure there is one. There's a fan base for everything. But it's not like you see Moomins merch in every store you go in. And I mean, even on the stores that I kind of frequent online, I rarely see Moomin stuff. I mean, I see everything else. I mean, I'm not have an interest in, but I see it. I see things like Hello Kitty and My Little Pony, and I see a lot of the anime stuff like My Hero Academia and things like that, which has got a following, but it's niche. Moomins I just don't see. So it strikes me as weird that they've launched that here. Now I know it's ran in Japan for ages, and I know in some European countries where this originates from, it did well, but I'm not going for it, and I don't know who is. I imagine that D'Agostini have launched that because of the success of the Disney Dolls House. If I had to hazard a guess why they've went for it. But it's too weird for me. I mean, if you're in, look, my kind of hatred for Moomins aside, if you're enjoying the Disney Dolls House and you were looking for a secondary project, it's a good one. I mean, it's a good one. It's a nice model. I can't take that away from it. It's a nice model. It's a very large model, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. But I have no interest in building that whatsoever, because I just have no affection at all for the franchise. I know nothing about it. So I'd be building it for the sake of building it, and I don't want to. So it's not one I'll be doing. But if you are interested in that, they have started putting up the promotional material. So I mean, I stumbled across that on a YouTube video. It just popped up because I followed D'Agostini, it popped up and I'm like, Jesus, really? Dia Goscinny UK? So as far as I'm aware, it's not live on their website yet, but they're starting the promotion campaign for it. Now, it might not be here until January. It might be here in a month or so. But this is around about the time of year where we're going to start hearing the early rumblings of what's coming, what's been finalised, because a lot of these things launch just after Christmas in the UK. Like, I believe I got the first Disney Doll's House on like the 29th or 30th of December. I got the Titanic on Boxing Day. And it's around about that time these things all start launching in January for the start of the new year. So you'll start seeing them come through, and ones that I believe you're going to see this year. So you're going to see the Moomin House. You're very likely going to see the Batman Tumbler. I've heard rumblings that the Millennium Falcon is going to be re-released through Fan Home, as is RoboCop. And there are others as well. We just don't know if they're going to launch in January or not. But those four are pretty much shoo-ins for the beginning part of the year, as well as Optimus Prime from Agora. The other one that we saw this week of new models, and this is massive. So if you've been following my channel, you see some of the wooden builds I do, like these ones over here. The roll-off models. I'm going to show you one in particular, which is this one here. You can hear it's already going. So this is one we made, and this is the Chairaplane. Now this was the first one. Turn that music off. This was the first one in a set of 4. The second one has been released, and it's available through, second and third now have been released through Rocker. The second one was the Parachute Tower, which is little parachutes go up and down. And then the third one, which has literally just been released last week, is the Tilt-A-Whirl, the gorgeous things. But they have just shown the very early footage of one that I kind of said in my last one was coming, which was the Drop Tower. So we've seen the very, very, very early footage of the first completed Drop Tower. And it is massive. It is the biggest, it's the highest model that this company have done. So it's a very high model, and it's very clever how it works. I wasn't expecting it to do exactly what it does, but it works like a drop tower. Now, I don't mean that it looks like it works like a drop tower. It actually works like a drop tower. So the way drop towers work, typically, if you're familiar with Apocalypse, Drayton Manor, those in the UK, is it's a 2-part system. So you have the actual lift system is separate from where you sit. So that attaches to the seats, it drags it up to the top, and then that part releases the seats drop down. This part follows back down, picks the seats back up, and up it goes again. And it does that, which was surprising to me, because I thought this thing was just going to go up and down on its own, but no, it works as a drop tower. So you will see the arm come down, grab the seats, and it moves up the tower and then releases it. And as it goes down, it triggers lights. So you get lights chased up as the tower drops, and it's a gorgeous thing. It's got the music and the sounds. I will 100% be getting it as soon as it's available over here. But they have said that there was some issues with it. They decided it was too complicated. I would have liked that challenge, to be honest with you. But they've said that it's too complicated, so they're going back to the drawing board and working on whatever it was that they think made it overly complicated. And they said there's going to be a delay of a couple of months. But as I said, we've seen the very first early footage of it, and it's a beautiful thing. I will be getting the Parachute Tower, I will be getting the Tilt-A-Whirl, and I will be getting that one. And at some point, I will have a little fairground running of all 4 of these. And I hope they do more. I genuinely do. I mean, I'd like to see a ghost house, or I'd like to see pirate ship, something like that. I'd like to see a roller coaster, ultimately. Now, I know Wood Trick do a wooden roller coaster, and I can show you. It looks like this. So that's the Wood Trick roller coaster. It's not a roller coaster. I mean, a roller coaster coasts. That's the whole point of it. So a roller coaster has no engine. It gets dragged up a lift hill. You let it go and it coasts. Hence the name roller coaster, coaster on rollers. Whereas that one doesn't. So the way that one works is you have a motor inside the car. It's got a remote control, wooden remote control, which is weird, but it does. And it's got teeth. So basically the thing drags itself along the track. It doesn't roll, and it goes up and it goes around the loop, and it pulls itself along. It's very expensive. I think that one's about 140, 150 quid. And it looks, I don't know, I toyed with the idea of doing that one, but I don't know. There was something ran cold on me on it and I didn't like it. I've not shown you the drop tower. Sorry, that's me prattling on. This is what the drop tower looks like. That's the drop tower. Beautiful thing. I can't wait to build that. I really can. I mean, it still needs some colour to it. If there is no colour to it, I will be painting that one. But I would imagine it's going to go with the same red and white that all of these ones have stuck with the same colour theme. I would imagine there'll be a lot more red and white on that one when it's finalised, because that is the prototype at this point. And that's all from Roker. What other thing I've been up to is, you can see from my Halloween decorations in here, and also the Halloween horrors, which you might have seen appear on the channel. These are just, they're 10-minute stories of just creepy, weird things from our past, just to get you in the mood for the spooky season of Halloween. But something I've been doing with Halloween is I've been making the kids Halloween costumes. Now, we've always been kind of big on making costumes rather than buying them. We tend to make them. There's two reasons for that. One of them is, I just think you should. I mean, it's in a world of disposables, and when we're becoming less and less sustainable, I think Halloween costumes are definitely one of those things where, if you've got small kids, are probably going to be a use once, throw away thing. So if we can stop doing that, brilliant. But we just like the part of it. But the other reason why we do it is because, and this is wrong of me, but typically my kids are into pop culture that's about 20 years out of date. And the reason for that is because my stuff rubs off on them. So long before Afterlife was released, my kids were obsessed with Ghostbusters. You couldn't really buy Ghostbusters toys. It was a problem. And they're trying to talk to their mates about, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and their mates look at them like, what are you talking about? So their points of reference are out of date. I should let them find their own pop culture. I shouldn't inflict mine on them, but by proxy it does. As an example of this, like last year, they went as David from the Lost Boys and Bob Ross, the painter. If you think I'm joking, here they are as David from the Lost Boys and Bob Ross. So that's them doing their thing. Simple costumes to put together. There was nothing complicated about that. But we this year, Oscar wants to go as Eric Draven from The Crow. Love that, because that's real simple, right? So just face paint. Excellent. Face paint, we make a guitar. I'm in. Jack, however, being Jack, never easy, wants to go as Sam from Trick or Treat. Now, if you don't know Sam from Trick or Treat, this is Sam from Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat's just the best, which criminally very few people have seen, and there's a whole story behind that movie of why people haven't seen it. I first watched that at film festival about 5 years before it was released, because it entered into this weird limbo, and it just became kind of a staple of film festivals. You went to a film festival, Trick or Treat was shown, because they had nowhere else to show it. So it just kept being shown at film festivals, and everyone that saw it was like, this film's amazing. Why hasn't it been released? And it went through this kind of like release hell, and eventually it just kind of got pushed out on Blu-ray to no real kind of fanfare. It's the best. It's just the best. I wouldn't say it's particularly scary, because it isn't. It's got scary moments in it. But what's good about it is, if you enjoy Halloween, like you can see we enjoy Halloween, it is a Halloween movie about Halloween. It's a love letter to Halloween, if you will. Whereas opposed to, say, like the movie Halloween is a horror film that happens to be set at Halloween. It's got nothing to do with Halloween. That doesn't factor into it. It just happens to be set at Halloween. You could have made Halloween with Michael Myers at Christmas. It would just happen to be Christmas. It's got zero to do with Halloween. Halloween has no effect on the actual story. Whereas Trick or Treat is actually about Halloween. So it's about the celebrations of Halloween. And Sam, who, I've got a Funko Pop of Sam, he watches over us. Sam is like the spirit of Halloween. So where Christmas has Santa Claus and Easter has the bunny, Halloween has Sam. And he is the guardian of kind of the rules of Halloween, which are always wear a costume, always check your candy, never blow jack-o'-lantern out before midnight. And he's a good anti-hero. But that is who Jack wants to go as. Now, again, out-of-date pop culture references, plus a film that no one in the UK has really seen, means I can't walk into a store and buy a Sam outfit. You can get them online, but it's not going to happen in time for Halloween. So we're making one. So I've had to go paper mache route on this one. So we are currently in the process of making our paper mache head for Sam. And this is one of the kids' beach balls in here. But this will be a paper mache head of Sam. We've got the sackcloth to make it, so we will put a Sam outfit together. When that is done, I will show you. I'll put a video up of us making the costume, so if you ever want to do it, you know how to do it. But it's been fun so far. It's like I've not paper mached anything in bloody years. So I've had to go to my old school kind of, how do I do this? But it's been fun. So once that's done, I will put it up on the channel. We do have another Halloween horror coming up about the Orang Medan, which is a story about a ghost ship. It's trippy. Check that out. They're a lot of fun. I mean, again, they're fluff pieces. They're 10-minute stories, but if you get ready for work when you're on a lunch break or something, they're a good thing to watch because they're interesting stories. And I'm trying to stick to true stories. I don't want to just tell any fabricated stories, but I might tell just a fictitious ghost story for the last one. But we'll have a few more of those coming up before Halloween. That's it. So next week we should be back with Titanic. If we're not, we will be up with something else. But that's it. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We can't thank you enough for doing that. We really appreciate your support. But if you haven't done it yet, please do. Helps us massively. Costs you nothing. It helps us massively. That helps us keep bringing you content on the channel. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice, and we will catch you on the next one.